Okay. So, Dexter, tell me about a gig that you were thinking about this, and something that's where you've been inspired, creatively.
So probably be one of the first sort of things I saw live, and it was like a small festival called Glaston Budget, where it's essentially just lots of cover bands, and before it was probably maybe 8 or 9 years ago now, and before I sort of listened to Guns N' Roses a little bit and a few other bands that were going, and I remember going and seeing the Guns N' Roses cover bands, and I just like their guitarist was just so good, and I remember my dad being like really impressed by them, and I like wanted to take up the guitar so I could one day like play it, and so my dad sort of feel like impressed that with my playing, and since then I started like learning a little bit, and Guns N' Roses has always been a big influence of mine, and then recently, so I've been wanting to take some of my playing to the next level. I've sort of done some guitar lessons and found out that my teacher is actually the guitarist in that band when he was younger,
Right.
and since then he's moved on and done like world tours with a lot of bigger metal bands and stuff.
You mean the cover band?
Yeah, yeah. So it's funny because
not the actual Guns N' Roses.
no.
Yeah.
So the guitarist in the cover band who influenced me to get in guitar is now teaching me,
Right.
which I find quite funny.
Yeah, that is definitely that's almost a full circle thing going on.
Yeah.
And interesting being inspired by the cover band. It's like, well, so what? It switched you on somehow. Then it's just like, I don't know what happened. What happened there? Going, what opened your eyes about it?
I always just thought guitar was really cool, and I think it was just seeing people in there, and like my dad's sort of taken back by like how good of a player this guy is, and sort of seeing sort of him the guitarist not showing off but just sort of showcasing his talents, and people sort of paying to go and watch it really, and I just wanted to learn to eventually have that one day.
So you're almost taking inspiration about inspiring your old man in that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
That's a part of it. Was he supportive up to that point, or not supportive of your guitar
definitely. He's always wanted me to. Well, no one in my family is musical, and since doing my guitar, he'd be like, oh, you should try and learn this or try and learn this, like challenging me. And I remember playing like a Plug-in Baby by Muse, and I learned that, and that was like the first time he was sort of like thought, oh yeah, like I'm getting quite good now, sort of thing, and that was quite a nice feeling.
Great. If you can, I mean, sometimes people have the opposite, and the parents, the guardians are so against it that they just rebel and do it anyway. Do you know what I mean? Whatever. Sometimes it works either way. Right, and Danny, tell me about a live thing.
So not to keep on going to dance music, but probably for Prodigy, go and see them live. It was the second to last performance they did as a full band before the lead singer passed. But yet again, the producer behind it all, Liam Howlett, he's got the same Akai controller that I was talking about earlier. The way that, yet again, they have take influences from other bands, so they went through a really kind of heavy kind of rock stage, and the way they turned the performances again into like acting and being very front and telling people kind of to stand back, and it's almost like a panto with a crowd. It's definitely made me think for when I get singers or whoever in, on how I should kind of get the music to allow at time for kind of crowd to prepare to dance really. So that was really interesting. What else? My mind's gone blank for a second.
So how did you feel at that gig? Let's just focus on that. How did you actually feel on that night? At the very any bits of it? Because it's not the same feeling all night, is it?
No, but I guess that kind of music, when it holds such power that it does, it kind of locked me into some unconscious kind of dancing that took over my whole body really.
So you were dancing?
Yeah, but it was even for kind of how short they keep for breaks, how short, I don't know, a quick load of rolls are and such. I was all kind of analysing and taking mental notes of that, so when I go back to my own music, I can hopefully do similar. And yet again, looking at all their influences, whether it's rock music with kind of lead guitars or anything else, they've just influenced a track that I did recently, where it's dance music, but it's actually soul and funk, but also got rock elements in. Yet again, so I think it's a good example, with live instruments.
Blurring the boundary.
Yeah.
And
exactly
it's mighty difficult to play the O2 or Rock City or main stage and just stand there pushing buttons. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it can definitely go wrong. I think a bit more on a kind of electronic device than it can on an instrument.
Doing dance music, it's tricky. Do you know what I mean? If it's not, there's no vocals. That's a hell of an ass to do that on a live thing. I mean, look what Avicii ended up doing with all those massive monumental kind of shows where it's like he's almost like a puppet in the middle of it. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's all about the light show.
Yeah.
There has to be something physical. You're not getting any singers out front or anything. No
yeah,
band, no live band.
So that's it. So as a solo producer, very much have to fill a track. So I often do loads of automation and modulation because I have to fill the gap because there's no singers. But seeing Prodigy, they've got for light show, they've got for massive sounds, and yet again, it's almost causing kind of anarchy within the stage with kind of the lead singers seeming like they broke some rules. So I forgot the name of the front guy with the American.
Yeah, name slips as well.
Well, whatever his name is, he kind of jumped into a crowd and was jumping on speakers, and the security guards had to kind of tell him off and bring him back. But really, they played it like he was breaking the rules, but just to get the crowd kind of up there.
It's like Bono climbing the monitors at the side of the stage or whatever.
Exactly,
I mean, you never know. I mean, sometimes it is genuinely like, no. It's more like the security guards are going, oh my god, how do we, how do we protect them? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But great. Okay, Betsey, what's come to your mind?
So it was Ben Platt at Radio City, and it was kind of like his proper first big massive headline show. And again, he's done a lot of acting as well, but he'd released this album and worked with a lot of different producers, and you could just tell like how personal each song was to him, and the way that he was performing them and engaging with the audience between each song. It was just so captivating. It was like so magical what he was actually talking about, and you could just see when he was talking, like with his eyes, like there was that like little glimmer, because it just meant so much to him, and therefore like it meant so much to us watching.
You were lucky to be at a gig small enough you could see the glimmer in their eyes.
Yeah.
Not on a massive screen that still looked tiny and like 4 miles away. Yeah. So is that a solo performance? A full band is leading, or?
No, so it was a full band that he had. I think he had keys, and then keys doubled up with synth, guitar, bass, kind of your standard band setup. But then he'd have additional strings as well, and he would kind of flick between full band then him just playing on the piano. And it was when he played, he did a cover of Brandi Carlile's Joke, and that was one of my favourite songs at the time anyway. and just his interpretation of it was just absolutely stunning, from the way that he really stripped down the instrumental to how he kind of altered each melodic line. He'd do it similar, but then kind of either rasp it up or go higher in what he's singing. And again, it was just a really magical moment.
So you're mixing floods of emotions with actual. You're still remembering technique of what he did, and still switched on and going, oh right. So that you're actually lifting that idea of the mechanics of what he physically does to the cover, and I guess what you do to the cover live is not necessarily what you do to the cover. I mean, I've resorted many times to getting crowds in or people in, hangers on, go out to nightclubs and come and bring them back to get the singer to actually perform in front of people, because it's just not gelling. You know what I mean? It's like what happens in front of a crowd's magical. And it makes you think about that ability to be able to go, well, how conscious is he when he's doing it? Because you're going, oh, well, I'm going to do that, and then you watch it back and go, why did I do that? You know what I mean? It's like you switch off, and almost in a pure sense, the frontal part of your brain, the filtering thinking bit switches off, and you're just in this kind of automatic kind of communicative place. It's a very complex thing. Do you know what I mean? It's being the music, not thinking about what notes you're hitting.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Great. Okay. I think that's fine. We've got all that covered.